10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang.
What's going on, everyone? It's CANT Pro. Welcome back to another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. In today's video, I want to show you 7 really cool music video transitions for your current project or for your next project. Also, be sure to visit my website where I have a bunch of editing packs already pre-made so you can just quickly add them into your video. Alright guys, so this first effect is going to be the RyanLynch transition, and this one is super easy to do. So if I go here, this is the original video. I haven't added any effects, so if I just push play, it's going to look something like this. I'm going to go, I don't know, maybe here, and I'm going to go over to the effects, and I'm going to go down under effects, and under tiling, you're going to go over to the tile effect. This is built into Final Cut Pro. Just click and drag this onto your clip. Ideally, it works best on a grouped clip. So here is the first clip, and then this is like another scene here. It's going to kind of go like that. So what I want to do is go to just before this shot. I'm going to go maybe here, and I'm going to go over to the effects, and then next to the amount, right now it's set to 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag this to 1, and we're going to add a keyframe. So click this button, and then you're going to skim a couple of frames about here, and then you're just going to type in 3. And then now if I go and push play, it's going to look like that. And then around maybe here, I'm going to go and type in 1, press enter, and then you're done. So now if I push play, it's going to look just like that. Super smooth. And if you want to change the speed, just right click on the video and click show video animation. And then you're going to have 3 points. So the first one is where it's going to begin the tiling effects. And then right here in the middle, I want this to be around exactly the middle between those 2 points. And then it's going to go like that. So if you want them faster, just drag these points closer to each other, like something like this maybe. So now I want to push play. It's going to do something like that. Alright, so the second music video transition is going to be inspired by Jerry Productions. The first one here is this shot here, and then the second one is this clip here. So what I want to do is drag the clip that I want to flicker just below that. So just click and drag this right underneath, and we're going to move it to something like this. Okay, that's a little too long. Something like, we'll go 10 frames. And what we're going to do is pretty much select the top clip here, and you're going to press Command B. And then you're going to do the same thing for the next shot. So select this clip and then press right on the arrow key, press Command B. And then you're going to do that for each of these frames. So you got to select them, make sure it's every frame here. So Command B. So now we have a couple of frames. As you can see, they're all split. And then what we're going to do is on the first frame, we're going to disable it by pressing V. You're not actually deleting it. You're just turning off the visibility of that clip. And they're going to do the same thing. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. And you're going to do the same thing for the third frame. Press V. And then you're going to do the same thing, just alternating the clips. So we're going to do something like that. And then now if I go back here and I push play, it's going to look something like that. And if you think this is too much or it's flickering way too much, just undo all of those. And then you can do every other 2 frames. So you can select 2 of those clips, press V, and then you're going to do 2 frames of these, and then you're going to turn off the other 2 frames. So you can do something like that. So now when I go back and push play, be a little bit slower as you can see. But if you guys are enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like. Alright, so the third transition is going to be inspired by, yeah, you guessed it, the OG of editing. It's going to be Bennett. His videos are just absolutely inspiring. For this to work, you want to have the first scene and right where it's going to stop. So in this case, we're going to use this as our frame. So on this frame here, we're going to go over at the top, go to edit, and you're going to go down to add freeze frame. And then you just want to trim the length because this is now an image. You're just going to click and drag upwards. We're going to drag this over to the left here. And so now we can trim this and kind of go like that. So now it's going to kind of get stuck. You're going to see it looks just like that. And then what we're going to do is you're going to select the clip. Depending how long you want this effect to last, we're going to make clones. So we want this to last a little bit. So we're going to start this off like this is fine. We can always trim it in the end. So we're going to go over to the effects and you're going to go down to masks and you're going to add a draw mask onto that clip there. Just make a selection of your object. In this case, we're going to select this yellow ball. So we're going to zoom in to get a better selection. And I'm going to start by clicking and dragging because it's a round object. And so we're going to go something like this and then maybe like that. and kind of like this maybe. So just try and get as close as you can to your subject. If you need to zoom in, by all means do that. So we're gonna go something like that. I think it looks kind of cool. So the original shot, if I go back, it's kind of blurry for the edges. So we can go to the feather here and just kind of feather this outwards or feather it inwards. So I'm going to feather this inwards just a tad so we can kind of create that realistic camera focus edge, right? Because our eyes don't see perfect edges. So I think this looks more realistic. You can also adjust the fall off. If you drag it to the left, it will expand the radius of the selection that we just made. So we're gonna go something like that. I think that's cool there. Sweet, so we're gonna go back to the original size, and now you should see it just stay like this. And we're gonna make a few copies. I'm gonna go maybe 4, so hold Option and drag upwards to make a copy. Select the top clip, and we're gonna go 1 frame over, just drag it 1 frame to the right. So just click and drag. And then now we're gonna select the transform tool, and then you're just gonna click and drag this in the direction of the movement that the ball is going to go. So in this case, it's going to go in like this way, and I'm going to drag this like that. So just kind of move it, kind of offset the shape a little bit, so it looks kind of like that. And then you're going to do the same thing. So hold Option, drag upwards, and then let go. And then you're going to move this 1 frame to the right again. And then you're going to go back to the transform tool. So then just click and drag this again, kind of move it like that. And then do one more time. So hold Option, drag this over to the right again like that. I think that looks cool. So now if we go back and we push play, it's going to look just like that. And then maybe right there, I want it to end. So I want it to be a quick transition. So I'm going to click and drag the bottom clip inwards to the left. And then you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to do like a stair step going kind of upwards as well. So we're just going to click and drag this here. And from this point, you're just going to click and drag 1 frame to the right so that it kind of looks something like this. So it's just 1 frame each. So now if we just push play, it's going to look just like that. Super clean. Alright guys, so the 4th transition or music video transition is going to be by the one and only, the OG of mask transitions, ShotbyJolo. This is going to be the effect here. So if I push play, it's going to be just this very simple and super smooth hard transition. And you're going to have 2 clips in your timeline. So you're going to have this shot here and then a completely different scene like this. For this to work, you again want an area on the first clip just right before it switches to the next clip. Go 1 frame to the left. You're going to go up at the top and go to edit, and then you're going to go down to add freeze frame. And then you're going to zoom out of the timeline, drag it inwards to decrease the length. So now when I push play, it's going to stop. I want to make this shorter. I'm going to click and drag this upwards, and I think that's how I want it to look. So I'll push play. It's going to stop. And then there's going to be a clip underneath playing, which is what's going to be shown underneath this window. You're going to go over to the masks. So go to the effects and then go to masks and then just add a draw mask. And then what we're going to do is make a very nice selection of this window. So if you have to, just zoom in to like 100%. Make sure you do a pretty good job with this selection. So now I'm going to go back and go to fit, and I'm going to go to the inspector tab, and I'm going to click off of it to see how. That's actually a really good selection. So now I'm going to go to invert mask. So you should be able to see your video underneath. Go to the transform here, and you're going to go to crop. Shout out to Ryan for this really cool technique. This definitely does speed up the editing process a lot. So shout outs to him. So for this, you're going to just go over to the Ken Burns, and then the start should be full frame because we want to use the full size of the video. And then in red is what's going to zoom up in this frame. So we're going to make sure that we have this completely inside of this black mask so that we don't have any edges showing. And then you're going to click on done. Now when you do that and you push play, it's going to zoom in just like this. But you're going to notice that there's no window opening. It just kind of cuts. What we can do is hold Option and drag upwards, and this will make a copy. And then you're going to select the top clip, and then you're going to go over to the inspector tab. You're going to go to the draw mask. Make sure the invert mask button or this square is unchecked. And then you're going to go over to the transforms and go next to position. Add a keyframe at the beginning, or you can start it here if you wanted to, but I think in the beginning is fine. So if I go in the middle, click and drag this. If I do that, what's going to happen is it's going to look like this. Now, if you want to slow this down, right click and go to show video animation, and then you can extend this point outwards to the very end so that it takes a little longer to open, as you can see. And that is how you make a perfect mask transition. Again, inspired by the one and only ShotbyJolo. Alright, so the fifth transition is going to actually be one of my transitions. This one is actually pretty cool. So again, this one does come from my transitions pack on my store. So if you guys want to check it out, link is going to be in the description of this video. So if I push play, it's gonna look something like that. Or you can use this one here with the fanning money transition. You just import it as a normal clip inside of Final Cut Pro. And then you select the folder here. So the 20 transitions KTP, you have 20 different transitions that you can use. So you have this one as similar to the other one with the G-Wagon. You have the party cups. You have the fanning money, you have lightning if you want to use that as a transition. I'm gonna click and drag the diamonds ones first, just drag it in between the clips, and then you just let go and you push play, and it's pretty much done. So that's all you gotta do. Now, if you wanna make this go by faster, just press Command R to bring up the retiming clip here, and then just go to the end and just bring this in, click and drag, bring it inwards, and this will speed up that video. So you can do something like this. So make sure right here, just add a marker, press M, so that way you can align it perfectly here so that this hides the video. So when I push play, it'll look just like this. You can also use the money transition, just click and drag. Again, same thing applies. Once it covers the clip here, press M, and then just align it in between those two clips. It's going to transition just like that. Thought I'd want to include this in there in case you guys want to not have to deal with any keyframing or any of that stuff, and you just want to quickly add effects or transitions. If I push play, it's going to look something like this, and it's going to kind of wiggle. You can do this completely free. I'll have the link to the ripped PNG image of this newspaper down in the description, so check it out. Okay, so I have two clips in the timeline that I want to use to transition. So the first shot here is going to be the image that's going to be hidden, and then this next shot is what's going to be shown next. So what I want to do is go to the project window here, and then you're gonna go over to the PNG image. You can see I added another one, but that one kind of didn't work. You want something that looks like this, where it's ripped on all edges. It doesn't have to be newspaper. It can be anything that you want to use to kind of transition. So we're gonna be using this as an example. So I'm gonna click and drag this right above our media. What I'm gonna do is you're gonna see if I push play, it's just an image. So I'm gonna split it. I'm gonna press Command B to delete the rest. So now we have just this one clip. Just keep in mind that this length here is how long it's going to be covering this shot here. So just an FYI. So I'm going to click and drag the second scene underneath like that. So click and drag this to match the first length. At the beginning, you're going to go to the transform, and you're going to scale this up quite a bit. So we're going to go with something like that. Zoom out to 50%, and I'm going to click and drag this out of the frame completely. And then what I want to do is go over to the keyframe button, so add a keyframe, click in the timeline and press a couple of keyframes inwards, because I don't want to start this off right away. So I'm going to kind of skip 2 frames, and then I'm going to click and drag this inwards to start it off. And then you're going to go every 2 frames. So just click and drag, and then you're going to see this little blue circle. Click and drag this and tilt it to rotate the object. So now if I kind of skim through here, it should look something like that. Okay, so like that. And then from here, you're gonna go 1, 2, click and drag, move it a little bit, and then drag it or rotate it the other way. So now it should look something like this. You can also do every frame too if you want. That could look kind of cool too. So we'll do that moving forward. So from here, we're gonna go 1 frame to the right, click and drag a little bit, rotate this like that, press 1 arrow key to the right, click and drag, move this down like that. And you want to be a little bit exaggerated here too. So. And then on this next frame, I'm going to move it completely out of the frame. And that's pretty much it. So now if I go back here, you're going to see that it looks like this. So if I push play. So now once we have that, we're going to then add a mask to this middle clip, which is going to be the first clip that we had. So just go over to the effects, and you're going to go down to the masks. Go to draw mask and add that on here. And then now we're going to zoom out first. So go to like 50 and then skim through. So you can see most of this, and then click about here, maybe. Yeah, about here, kind of like a square, and then go to the beginning here, and then just start this off kind of like that. So it's like a straight line almost. And then from here, open up the inspector tab, and then go to the transforms, open that, and add a keyframe next to position, and the same thing next to control points. So now press right on the arrow key, and then now once it's about here, you're going to click and drag in between these 2 lines or these 2 points. What this does is if you hover over it, you're going to see this little move tool. Just click and drag this and move it over to the left. That way you can see the video beneath it like that. So kind of move it when you start seeing a black background. That means nothing is showing. So just make sure something is showing beneath it like that. So if you have to add multiple points, then by all means do that. So just an FYI. I'm almost done here. So something like this. And then once it gets to about here, you can just drag it all the way to the left and then make sure invert mask is actually selected. That way we can show the first clip and not the other clip there. So make sure you're doing that right, because then you're gonna be doing things incorrectly. The last and final transition is going to be this awesome film textured lens flare transition. Now this one comes from my newest film textures pack on my website. For this to work, of course, just go in the description and check out the Selfie page where I have a bunch of packs. And then I'm going to be using this one, the film texture number 18. So if I press Command I inside of the 20 film textures pack, of course, 20 different textures. So you have this one here, you have this one, you have this one here, and they're all really unique. Experiment with which ones you think looks the best for your type of video. You're just gonna click and drag this above your video in between two clips. So this is gonna be, let me show you, this is gonna be the first shot, and this is gonna be the second shot. So I'm gonna select the film texture and I'm gonna zoom out, and it is a little bit long and it's playing like this. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna reverse the clip. You can use this as a transition. So if I just go here and I show you really quickly, I go over to the inspector tab and I go next to the blend mode and I change this to screen and I push play. You can do something that looks like this. Select the speedometer icon and you're gonna click on reverse clip. So this will now play it in reverse. And that way we can then press Command R to retime the video or adjust the speed of that clip. So bring it inwards to speed up that video clip. And if I push play, it's gonna look something like this. But now we gotta make sure that this area here, I'm just gonna press M, so that way I know to align this in the middle so that it gives us a perfect transition. So now when I go back and I push play, it's gonna look just like that. And then in the end, we can soften this by just pressing Command T, deleting the first transition and just fading this off. It just adds a nice cross dissolve. So if I push play, it'll look like this. That's going to be pretty much it for this tutorial. If you found this helpful at all, please consider leaving a like, subscribing if you are new, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss out. And yeah, I'll catch you on my next video.